Hey everybody, happy Monday. We're ready for chapter 10 today. Last week was super busy with Teacher Appreciation Week, so I know we're a few days behind. So let's quickly review what we read about in chapter 9. Pearl Harbor was under attack by the Japanese, and Danny was running towards the hospital where his mom worked as a nurse to try to find her and make sure she was okay. And as he was running along the beach, one of the planes was following him and shooting at Danny. And chapter 9 ended with a loud explosion, and Danny fell against the sand and couldn't see anything at all. So we're ready for chapter 10. 8:45 a.m. Danny wasn't dead. His head felt like it had been split in two. His hands and knees throbbed. His mind swirled. His mouth was filled with sand and blood. He'd bitten his tongue. His ears were ringing. But he was all in one piece. He had no idea how much time had passed since that plane appeared. The plane was gone now. The attack seemed to be over. His mind cleared. He managed to sit up. Over the harbor, one of the battleships was a ball of fire. That was a huge explosion. An entire battleship had been blown apart. That's what had knocked him down. Finally, Danny struggled to his feet and staggered across the beach toward the road. He saw a car parked at the edge of the beach, the front end partially hidden in a prickly bush. It was covered with bullet holes. The back window was shattered. He didn't see anyone. Probably the driver had run away. Danny wondered if the guy would mind if he borrowed it. Earl had not only taught Danny and Finn how to drive, he'd shared a secret for starting a car engine without a key. But as Danny got closer to the car, a man's face appeared through the shattered driver's window. "Hey, kid," he called. "You okay?" Danny couldn't believe his eyes. It was his mother's friend, Mac. "Dan," Mac said, "is that really you? Are you okay? Were you hit?" "I'm okay," Danny said. "Where's your mother?" Mac asked. "She's at the hospital," Danny said, his voice shaky. "At the base. I think it was hit. I need to get there." Mac looked nothing like a fancy Sutton Place man trying to impress Danny's mother. His expression was fierce and determined. "Let's go," he said. "That's where I'm heading. You come with me. We'll find her." When Danny got into the car, he noticed blood splattered on the doors. Mac's arm was bleeding badly. "You're hurt," Danny said. Mac glanced at him. "I got grazed by a bullet," he said. "I've had worse." He pulled the car up onto the road and they drove off. "They caught us by surprise," Mac said. "The Japanese blindsided us." "Why?" Danny said. "To knock out our ships and bombers," Mac said. "To cripple our entire Pacific fleet. That way they can take over whatever they want in the Pacific. China, the Philippines, Korea. Japan is a small country, but they want to be powerful. They need more land, so they're taking over other countries, like Hitler has been doing in Europe, and now we won't be able to stop them." "But didn't we know they would do this?" Danny said. "Shouldn't we have known?" "Some people talked about it," Mac said, "but nobody thought they could pull it off." Mac looked at Danny. "I'll tell you what," he said. "The Japanese made a big mistake. A big mistake. They have no idea what they've started. This country is going to rise up and crush them. You'll see." "And what about Hitler?" Danny said. "Him too," Mac said. Mac sounded so sure, and Danny wanted to believe him, but now he was thinking about Mrs. Mill's map stretched across the classroom wall. How could America fight two wars on opposite sides of the world? As Hickam came into view, Danny could see smoke and flames rising from the base. Mac swore under his breath. They pulled up to the gate, which was blocked by a smashed car still smoldering. "Let's go," Mac said, opening his door. Danny followed Mac around the burning car and toward the gates at the base. Ahead, the base reminded Danny of a photo he'd seen in Life magazine of a town that had been hit by a tornado. There was wreckage everywhere, twisted metal all over the ground, shattered glass, pieces of burned wood. He stepped over a tattered hat. He wondered what happened to the man who'd been wearing it. Some of the buildings had been destroyed. Two were still burning. The air was hard to breathe. It smelled like burned rubber and plastic, and everywhere he looked, Danny saw wrecked planes. Some were cut right in half. 2 armed guards stood at the gate. They both saluted when they saw Mac, and then they both started talking at once. "We were hit bad, sir. We've lost about a dozen men, sir. About 100 are wounded. They destroyed the barracks in the mess hall. The 2 hangars are gone. We lost a lot of planes, sir. They torched them right on the runways." Mac listened closely to the rush of information. Finally, he held up his hand to quiet the men. "Did we get any planes into the sky?" Mac asked. "No, sir." "Hospital okay?" Mac said, reading Danny's mind. "Hospital's fine, sir. No hits. They're treating the wounded." Danny closed his eyes with relief, and then he heard a ferocious roar. Another wave of Japanese bomber planes roared out of the sky, whistling through the smoke right over their heads. Bombs started pouring down. All right, tomorrow we will be ready for chapter 11. Sounds like they're going to be attacked again. Have a good day, everybody.